did you felt after that?
It was, to be honest, it was life changing
Yeah.
because you're so terrified that people will not accept you.
Yeah.
Today we're talking with Ginger, at Ginger Sometimes on Instagram. Her love of high heels from an early age eventually got her into dressing and taking Ginger out into the world. I have known her over a year and a half and have loved watching her blossom. Let's hear about her story.
Hello.
Ginger!
Hi.
Oh, hey, it's so good
Good to see you.
Yes.
So, have a seat. Oh. So what are we wearing today? We got some zebra high heels. How tall are those? Those look like 7s?
Those are 7-inch.
Oh
That's
my
correct.
gosh, you were walking pretty good in them. Do you like the heels a lot?
That's definitely. I wouldn't do this without the heel.
Oh, okay.
And Ginger's a big fan of animal print, so that works
Love
out
it.
well.
So what are we going to drink today?
Watermelon Red Bull.
And what is that? What significance is that for you?
I went to Tampa Pride last year, which was my second time out of the house, and my first real experience in the community. And it was something that I had there, and my refrigerator literally hasn't been without it since.
So this is directly related to all this.
It is indeed.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So, welcome to Feminine Fashion Enthusiasts. And look, I guess we're going to start at the beginning. Where did this all begin for you? This desire to wear women's clothes or present female?
It goes all the way back. I mean, I think if I've figured out anything through 3 years of intense therapy and just kind of reflection, it goes all the way back to a second grade teacher I had that always wore extremely high heels, platinum blonde. I mean, I've always had an attraction to blonde. I've always had, since that point forward, even before kind of sexuality started to develop.
Right.
I've had that.
Yeah, second grade is like 7 years old.
Exactly. I've had that attraction to high heels. If I hear in a corporate environment or something like that, I hear somebody walk by with high heels, it's very hard for me not to disengage and turn my head. So
Right.
it's kind of always been there. I personally got my first pair of heels in 2008, and it was pretty much off to the races at that point. Really,
How'd you go about figuring out your size?
um,
Was it hit or miss, or did you just get lucky?
no, I think it's that easy math of just adding 2 sizes to your male size, and that's evolved. Like there's some shoe brands that are
Right.
fit a little bit differently. So so again, I think it's more trial and error like anything else. But yeah, it goes it's been pretty much part of my life for almost 45 years, I guess.
Right.
So
this second grade teacher still holds a really good spot in your heart.
I think it's hard to kind of acknowledge that all the way back, but I do think that's where it came from. So
How about your mom? Did she present very feminine?
not
or
at
was
all.
She, no? Okay.
Oddly enough, like I hear a lot of stories, pantyhose, trying on your mom's clothes. I don't remember experiencing any of that when I was a kid. My mother wore pantyhose at all times, and it's probably one of the things I hate the most is pantyhose. Like, it's just not a thing for me.
Right.
It may have something to do with that. I haven't really dove into that.
Plus, we're in Florida, and it's a pain in the butt to wear
Correct.
pantyhose.
Stockings and things like that, that's a different story, but I don't feel like I have a whole lot of assets, and my legs happen to be one of the assets I have. So if I can somehow keep them bare and being in Florida, tanned, like
Right.
that's always
She's always on me to get my legs tanned.
It's
It's mine
always-
I got the farmer legs.
Um,
Two tones.
So
yeah.
and yours are. So what do? Do you sunbathe? Do you go to a place with a machine?
No, it's just all Florida sun.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, just taking the opportunity on a nice 90-degree day to just
go
get a
lay
couple
out.
hours worth
Okay.
of sun and
Get naked and do it.
get a little bit of color.
Right.
So
So you have this trace back to second grade, but you didn't wear women's clothes a lot as a going through puberty.
no, absolutely not. I remember I dressed up as a girl for Halloween. I used to go shopping with my mom, pick out clothes and things like that. So I think there's always been some attraction towards the women's clothing being the different materials, the colors. In male mode, I'm still very colorful. I still like bright colors.
Right.
Fortunate enough to live in Florida, and that's kind of just you can get away with that
Anything,
motif.
yes.
Exactly. But always being a bigger guy, I don't think I realized that I could get clothes that would fit me. A couple years ago, started ordering some things online. I got a zebra dress, oddly enough, that almost looks just like these heels, and it fit. And the light bulb went off that, hey,
So your whole start was just the shoes.
my whole start was exactly
Just
just
the shoes.
Yeah, that was my start.
So were we painting nails? Were we shaving our feet? What level were you going for with that? Just to wear the shoes and feel them, or was it anything more?
I think, and again, femininity means different things to different people. So I think that's what I viewed femininity as, was the whole getting all made up.
Right.
The heels was the start of that. I didn't shave my body until probably 2010. So a couple years after I got my first pair of heels, I started shaving my legs and then shaving the rest of my body. And it was just mostly like lingerie and things like that. Just at home, privacy. There was a desire probably in 2011 to start to think about leaving the house. I bought some clothes, went to Target, bought a pair of jeans and a top, and just kind of made these plans.
By yourself?
No, actually my wife was
Okay.
with me.
And she knew that you liked this stuff?
Absolutely.
So
She was-
how did that get in the relationship? Did you bring that to the relationship? Is it something that kind of grew in the
I
relationship?
brought it in, but she recognized it very early on and
Okay.
was happy to kind of open the door a little bit and allow that
Wow.
to expand. I don't think she thought it was going to expand quite as far as it has.
Oh,
But yeah, we were together at Target and got the clothes. We talked about going out. Again, a lot of apprehension, a lot of fear.
so, but you had good close support.
I did, absolutely.
And somebody who could confide in, somebody that was there. So that's big.
Yeah, and those experiences of just shopping and that level of vulnerability and being able to communicate was something I hadn't experienced before. So that was definitely a lot of the bond for me, was being able to have the space to allow that to grow.
Right.
Buying the clothes and then talking about it. But again, I think that happened in 2011 and I didn't leave the house till 2023. So for close to 12 years, I told myself,
But with her, that's kind of what she enjoyed was
she more enjoyed it inside the four walls.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you were telling me it kind of got a little. There were a lot more conversations after you started going out.
Absolutely. Yeah. The frequency and the focus and things like that. Obviously, there was some communication that was needed, some level of understanding, some acceptance, as things evolved. But for 12 years of telling myself I'll do it every summer when, my son's away and or
So
my
how,
birthday.
how often were you doing it? And was it
Oh God.
monthly, yearly, weekly?
It might have been monthly. It probably wasn't even to that frequency. It was a different headspace for me to get into. It was a different experience for me.
How would you describe the headspace? How do you
As a man, you're always, kind of taught to be dominant and taught to be, focused on your partner, and that Ginger allowed more of a submissive side to come into play. Allowed me to focus more on me and not always on my partner. Being my partner focused on me at that point, like it was a different headspace for me. Very different dynamic than I'd ever experienced before. And that took a lot of trust. And that's one thing that I got through all of that was a higher level of trust in my partner and my wife to be able to be vulnerable and experience some of those things.
So you said you've been doing therapy for 3 years, and it's 2024, so that's back to 2021. So you were in therapy, and therapy helped get you out of the house, do you
Therapy
think?
definitely got me out of the house. As I approached 50, obviously we've talked about my affection for very tall heels.
Yes.
My therapist, who I absolutely love to death, asked me a very pointed question and said, how long can you do this? You know, longevity wise. But, you know, if you don't start doing it now, you're going to lose the opportunity to maybe do this, or something's going to happen you're never going to get to experience.
There's
So
not
as
a lot of 70-year-olds rolling around in high
correct,
heels.
right. So as I approached 50, it was very scary for me to realize I had a lot of things still left to do, and Ginger experiencing the world was one of those things.
Right. How much does she play into your everyday?
That's a great question. I would say a lot. You know, it also depends on, you know, we all get busy. You know,
Right.
life gets in the way. We've got kids, we've got family. You know, I've been taking care of my parents for several years. So you have all those factors, but I've always looked at my life and my responsibilities that once I can get everybody where they need to be and they're quiet, then I can focus on me. And that's when Ginger really starts to take front place or take the stage, is when everybody else is happy and they have what they need. I've since tried to figure out that maybe that's not the right way to approach it. Maybe, you know, Ginger's my need, so that I need to focus a little bit more on that need and try to take care of everybody else at the same time, but balance that out a little bit better.
What we do here is a big game of balance.
Correct.
Because we have expectations that are on us.
Right.
And at the same time, we have needs that we've found, and it's tough.
It's a balancing act for
Yes.
sure.
So you had support at home with your wife, and that's really huge. That's something a lot of us
Correct. It's a
are
big
looking
challenge.
are looking for. Luckily, I got mine. So who else outside of your wife? Who else do you get support from outside of the Instagram world, in the real world?
Absolutely. Last year, my wife had kind of expressed an interest in her not being the only one kind of carrying this around. She felt like she was keeping a secret, and she's not. She's very transparent and just likes to live kind of openly. So we brought my sister into the fold. Yeah, a huge amount of support from my sister. Big advocate. Very excited. She has not got to experience Ginger yet, but she's very excited to.
So she didn't live nearby.
She lives in Indiana.
Oh, back home. Okay.
Yeah, so she's 1,000 miles away, but you know.
Shout out to the sister. Yes, sister.
Family
Woo!
support.
Yeah, it's been great to have her support and again her encouragement. You know, when I'm out, you know, she's always encouraging me to send photos and share that with her. So, just in the past, probably 60 to 90 days, I told my best friend. Again, same level of support. Him and his wife, incredible, both incredible people. Really.
What got you to do that? What got you to open up to him? Are you just trying to show Ginger more, or is this part of?
It's actually not to do it more. It's to just feel like you're not hiding a large
being
piece
more
of yourself.
honest about everything with everybody.
You know, I have been one for 50 years to people please, hide big pieces of myself because I wasn't sure people would accept that piece of you. Obviously, as I've aged, I can't speak for everybody, but as I've aged, the importance to live more authentically is become more of a necessity at this point.
Right.
So to share that with again, my closest friend and his wife was amazing. I have 2 more friends still to share this with. This video or this interview will probably be part of that. And they're incredibly important as well. I just haven't necessarily found the opportunity or the way I want to position it. When I told my best friend, like I'd rehearsed that thousands of times.
How long you been friends for?
I think close to 15 years. I think it's right about 14, 15 years. He was a little offended, to be quite honest, that I hadn't told him sooner.
Right.
So that was nice to inject a little bit of levity into the situation. he actually sent me a text right after and said, "I always wanted a sister." And it was kind of a quick jab, and it might have been one of the funniest things he said in 14 years. But it was just it was nice to have that support, because you don't know when you open up something like that where it's going to go.
Because you've had that conversation in your head a million times, and it goes different every time, and yeah,
Correct.
and it's
How
all.
did you felt after that?
It was, to be honest, it was life changing,
Yeah.
because you're so terrified that people will not accept you.
Yeah.
So
It's been beaten into us.
I think
in
so.
one way,
right,
shape, or a form.
Right. And the political environment now, I mean, a lot of people that may not even thought about hating that hate it.
Right.
So, so yeah, you don't know where it's going to go. You don't know how it's going to go. So, I mean, I go to very accepting places, and it's still sometimes very terrifying to just be out and about.
You still go out and about a lot alone.
I do. Yeah, to me, it satisfies the challenge, I guess, of just doing it. I might not have a great experience when I go out. I might sit alone or whatever and just take in some music, have a drink, relax a little bit.
But I'm betting that each time it's not only easier, but you
get more out of
you
it.
interact more,
Correct.
you get more out of it.
Yeah. In the past few weeks, I went to a Pride event and had some great conversations with strange people, I've never interacted with or talked to. And it's, I truly believe, based on, opening up to him, that allowed that confidence to kind of come through.
Right.
So it was, to your point, I believe it was kind of life changing.
So we're here in Atlanta right now, doing a girls' weekend.
My first.
Your very first, yes. Not your first time out, but the first girls' weekend.
Correct.
Where you're surrounded with it.
Correct.
That last one.
Not the last one. That is absolutely a true statement.
What kind of goals do you have for Ginger in the next year, in the next 5 years? Where's this going? Where do you think it's going?
That's a great question, and I don't know that I have a specific plan. November of 22, I weighed 262 pounds. Part of the apprehension was figuring out whether I could, get cute clothes,
Right.
and present in a presentable package. Since that point, I've lost about 70 pounds.
And what was the driver for that?
Ginger was a big part of it. Not 100%, but a big part of
Right.
it. Obviously, turning 50 and turning 52 in the past couple weeks, and just figuring out, I need to make some life changes, need to make sure I'm healthy. On the Ginger side of things, it kind of sculpting the body a little bit to wear dresses that don't allow you to really have a whole lot of so, but that's always appealed to me, women's fashion and,
Right.
and some of the dresses and so
The tighter look.
right, and as a male, broad shoulders, and at that point, 250 plus pounds, it gets a little challenging.
Right.
So it was definitely a part of, and again, when I say part, it was a large part of it. There are some other factors.
So that's a lot of weight in
2 years.
2 years. That's still a lot of weight. So what'd you do? You have any secrets for anybody out there?
No secrets. I have poor self-control and discipline. So I was fortunate enough to kind of do what a lot of people are doing in the Ozempic and Wegovy and
Okay.
Mounjaro world.
Right. So you had
fortunate-
that assistance, but that wasn't everything, is it?
That wasn't everything. That's correct. But that allowed you to make some dietary changes and to stop eating some of the things that I've consumed my whole life. Being born and raised in the Midwest, very meat and potatoes,
Right.
junk food, candy,
Oh, I know all about
sweet
that.
tooths, right? So those that allowed me to get rid of that 8 o'clock ice cream craving that I'd had probably most of my life. And then recently, starting in June, joined a workout group, and then I ruck 5, 6 to 7 miles, 5 to 6 days a week.
So you're putting miles on.
I am, and that's
How's the body holding out with that?
Everything's great. Feet are a little challenging sometimes. I mean, that's a lot of miles, and we live in Florida, so
Yeah.
humidity and sweat. So you'll get some blistering from time to time. Changing the shoes and rotating and kind of keep taking care of the feet, but it's definitely led to some changes in the body, increased muscle mass, and just an overall better feeling to start the day,
Right.
accomplishing. I might leave the house with a goal of 5 miles. And then it's like, I feel pretty good today. Let's do 6. Or I feel really great today. Let's do 7.
Right.
And then that starts that day of I've already accomplished a goal. I've already exceeded what I set out to do that day. So it definitely puts me on the right track.
And you said you were in a workout group.
I did.
Does that help
Uh,
get you motivated to get there and do it, or?
The greatest thing about that group is it's a level of accountability because you're accountable to each other in that group. We challenge each other. We support each other. Huge support system. Ginger's not a part of that world, but from the male side of things, there's still a lot. Like I said, there's some leadership qualities that are there, a lot of support, and a lot of just accountability to each other. So I started that in June, and that's been a huge part as well.
All right. Well, I'm going to let Daddy talk to you for a second. And if you live through that, then I'll be back in a little bit.
We'll see.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hi, gorgeous. Hi, gorgeous. Ooh, I'm flashing my people. Okay. Okay, a little racy there. Okay, sorry about that. The
Right.
Okay, well, thank you for being here and sharing with us this moments and, sharing your experience and talking to us. And it's beautiful. I love you so. Like I said before, I love you since the moment that we met the first time.
And I love you too.
And it's a surreal moment, having everyone together, always being so nice, being so welcoming. And when she told me that you were coming with us, I'm like, yes, yes, I love that. I love it, Vera. Sharing moments with all of y'all and with the people who just wants to be around us. It's such a beautiful thing. And
Yeah, you both inspire me a lot. So
Oh, thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, so one question for you. What will be your most memorable moment as Ginger?
I have I don't know if it's weird, but Ginger's definitely, obviously a huge part of me, but it's my goal when I transform, I guess, into Ginger is I don't want to see my male self.
Oh.
So colored contacts to obviously hair, makeup, I'm trying to cover all of that up.
Okay.
So the first time I was able to accomplish that, where got the makeup, the hair, contacts, and looked in the mirror and no longer saw my male version, it was waterworks.
No,
So that was
that's beautiful.
That was my.
I love it.
And again, I said it getting ready just a couple hours ago, and I looked in the mirror. It's like, okay, I don't see myself anymore. So, goal achieved.
You do amazing. I love the eye makeup. It's
Thank you.
beautiful. It's
Thank you.
beautiful. You did really good makeup wise. So, one question for me.
I mean, we talk, and again, I'm fortunate enough to call you both friends, and I get to view a lot of your guys' interactions and what you guys do, both in the community and personally. So, what is it that you get from the experiences that you get to share with all of us?
To start, I would say to hear all the beautiful stories and the beautiful, finding that friendship and just to be open and happy to be where they are where they are inside outside. I feel like that's so rewarding for me to see, because not everyone can enjoy or have that part of happiness that the when we're all together. We just like a family group, you know, like everyone is so welcoming and such a beautiful moments that we, you know, like experience as, or either as a male or a female. Those little moments that they just like, just sitting on the table, just talking about nothing
Right,
and
right.
eating goldfish.
Right. Well, we all have
Yes.
one thing in common, obviously, which is the dressing.
Absolutely.
But that's not enough to sustain the friendship and
Yeah.
and the experience.
Yeah. Now,
So being able
yeah.
to share, like you said, from even male perspective and sitting around and talking,
Yes.
like we connect
Yes.
and bond in a whole different level. It's
Absolutely.
not just the dressing. That's what brings us together, but that's not what keeps us together.
Absolutely no, and that's what it just I feel so grateful and to be part of that, all of these. It's just it makes me so happy because like I don't have that you know, like in my family part, like I don't have that like enjoying other perspective of anyone's lives. It was more like this is my circle and I don't want to disturb the circle. Like everyone is a hush hush thing, you know. I hated that. Like I'm always
And I have a
happy
very
and
similar experience.
I always like to be happy, enjoying, sharing, and doing all this stuff, like making sure that I'm welcome whoever and whatever wants to be part of our life, respectfully,
Right.
you know. But
And I'm sure I can speak for everyone here that we're happy to have your support.
thank you. I try my best. I'm trying not to be a bitch, but you know, sometimes it comes out when I got a couple drinks.
We love you anyway.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for sharing with me, and we'll talk about more.
Thank you.
Bye. Good, my
All right. Well, you made it through that one.
I did.
without crying.
And that was a challenge as well.
So we're going to move on to what we call the last three.
Okay.
But they're boring, so we're going to change them up just a little bit.
I love
You
that.
are in the corporate world,
I am.
like up in that corporate cloud that we all just kind of look up at. What do you see going on at that level that helps and hinders our community? Is there talk about it? Is this something they talk about all the time? Is it something that comes up that they put out a fire on? What do you see in the corporate world, in your section of the corporate world?
My section of the corporate world is dominated by middle-aged white men. So a lot of opinions in that, at that level.
Right.
Not all of them overly supportive of our community. It's a challenge to sit in meetings and listen to, and I get stronger every day. I haven't yet, we've had a couple, conversations at the corporate level about things like that. I was fortunate enough to work for a company that was very inclusive and very supportive, to the point of having different divisions and different, groups that supported anything and everything, from, Latino to minority to LGBTQ, so very fortunate there to have that support.
Right.
I was part of the LGBTQ panel, so not necessarily out in that realm, but definitely wanted to at least be viewed as an advocate, kind of sticking your toe in the water
Right.
a little bit.
Kind of getting the current going in the right direction.
Correct. And so it's challenging to be in that world a lot of times with, again, the way the political environment is.
So what do you think, as a follow-on to that, what do you think would be something individuals could do that would have an impact at that level?
I hate to say it, it's people like me that are more visible. I think visibility is the biggest thing. We talk about, it's about representation. So from theater and film and TV, the more representation, and that just doesn't count for LGBTQ, that accounts for minorities, that counts for women, that counts for any marginalized
Everything.
group.
Yes.
Representation is incredibly important. So the more representation that we have, even at the corporate level, is a learning experience for everybody else that hasn't been exposed to it.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest thing that we can do is advocate, expose ourselves from time to time. Very uncomfortable, very hard to do, but that's what it's going to take to move that needle.
Okay, and so the last one from me is going to be, is there a point in all of this, everything that's had to do with Ginger from second grade to 2009 or 8 with your first pair of shoes, is there a point in there that you feel that you could talk back to yourself or communicate that would have the most impact?
Self-acceptance.
And is that something that you feel you've done through your work, or is that a lot of therapy?
It's a ton of therapy.
So therapy's played very big into where you're at right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to sit here and have this conversation without 3 years of therapy.
What if you had started it earlier?
That's it right there.
Is that really what you used to
Yeah,
start talking with other people about yourself a little earlier?
Right. I've had some great conversations with a lot of people in the community, and fortunately enough, to some younger people. And it fills my heart when you see younger people.
You're gonna make me cry because those little bitches fucking they rock my world. I love it.
Right. When you see them embrace themselves and accept themselves so early in life, not when they're 52.
Right. I want to know where they got that power from, and it's the fucking millennials and Gen Xers I don't want to play us up or anything, but I feel like we've allowed this to happen because it should happen. And because it's a good thing.
We have, I can't say we, so I'll retract we. To me, the suppression of wants and needs and desires and thoughts and everything we're told to be from society and from the way we're raised, like the generation now, like so accepting and so understanding, and it's like I said, it's amazing to see them accept and open up and be themselves. That's something I wish I couldn't imagine doing it in my 20s and where I'd be now at 52. Right. Like that would be amazing.
All right. One question for me.
So I think the one question I have for you is what do you get from the friendships that are developed with inside our group in this community?
The biggest thing I get from hanging out with everybody, from just talking online, whatever, anything is their story.
Correct.
Because we're all different.
Yeah.
I love you.
Because we're all different, and I love seeing where people are different than me, where they've taken this route, and I've taken this route,
right?
But we're all crossing at this point. And I think this point right now, with everything that's going on in this world, in our country, and everywhere, it's a really important point to get out and be visible.
Correct.
And I love that we're doing this. It's not me and the weekend, the girls' weekends. Right. I see it everywhere.
Correct.
I see it in I see it in Europe. I see it in Canada.
Right.
I see it everywhere.
Right.
We're building a space for ourselves.
Yep.
And
we're fighting hard to do it.
At times, yeah. And it's important because there are so many of us that, we've got, 12, 13 people coming to hang out this weekend.
Right.
And that's probably 1% of the people within 100 miles of here that are into this.
Correct. Easily.
And we got to give that space so those people can express themselves.
Right.
Because
they
once
can
you
feel
do that,
comfortable and accepted.
yes, I think it's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Acceptance is literally kind of my life goal. Is just to be accepted for who I am,
Right.
regardless of who that is.
Well, wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, all right.
All right.
That was wonderful, Ginger.
Thank you so much.
I love you.
Love you too.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Love you.